Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Amy.
You're Amy?
Oh, God.
I think we keep it. I'm Katya. Let's go. Hi.
Hi. I guess, Amy, I'm just saying because I'm so excited because we have one of our guests that I absolutely adore back on the show,
Right.
Alison Metal Babe Cohen. And we get a fun update on her life, what she's been up to, the Metal Babe lifestyle, stories about walking, a concert that I really want to go to. And on top of that, she's offering our listeners a promo for her store.
Yay. You guys, without further ado, since we've already Anyway, sorry. That was funny. That was funny. All right. You guys, here's Alison. Oh, wait. Before I do that, if you're watching on YouTube, would you like and subscribe? Leave us a comment. Do whatever you need to do. This is a really fun episode. We really think you're going to enjoy it, and we'd love to have you come back and watch some other episodes. So, without further ado, now this time for real, here's Alison.
Yay. Hi, Alison. It's so good to see you. How are you doing?
Hi, Katya. Hi, Amy. Hi, everybody who's watching. I'm happy to be back. I'm good.
Yay!
Well, the last time we had you on, we had, I thought one of the great things is we had talked about how music connects us and it keeps connecting all the fans. And since then, you and Amy got to see each other.
We did. What were you in Portland for?
I went to Portland because one of my closest friends moved from Los Angeles to Portland, and any excuse to go visit her is a good one. And Blacklist Union is a rock band here from Los Angeles. I've been working with them for about 8 years, and they were doing a tour with Dead Boys. And Dead Boys is a band that I had never seen. It was just such a fun show. It's funny because I go to obviously a lot of shows, but this one was interesting because it was at a venue that was all ages, and they separated, the ages. So there was a bar area, of over 21 were drinking, and then there was a stage that was general admission, and you couldn't bring your drink to the floor, right? So and I was on the floor, and I was in the front, and they were bouncing, which to me is like kind of a different thing. It's not moshing or, I just call it bouncing, like you're in a bouncy pit. But it was so much fun. So one friend was at the bar, one friend was in the back observing, and I was bouncing, and it was
like jumping up and down?
Like I got bouncing? It was just so much fun. It was great. And then, I don't know, Amy, have you been to that venue before?
Bossa Nova Ballroom?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we did a whole episode on Disciple. And when I saw Disciple in Portland, that's where it was. Yeah.
And was that in all ages or not?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's because at some point they have it over 21. Like Wednesday 13 will be there in March, and that's over 21. So in theory, to me, that just sounds more fun because you can, you're free to roam, any way you want. But it was so great, though, because, when I booked the ticket, the first thing I did was to check in with you because I know your daughter lives there. And it's so great that we were able to actually meet in person. We had dinner, we had drinks, went to Ravens Manor.
Ravens Manor was really cool. I'm super excited about showing the pictures that we have for that. It was definitely it's like a vampire bar is the best way to describe it for me, since I hadn't been there before. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. The drinks were fun and all themed, and I felt like I stepped into a scene from Interview with a Vampire. It was pretty cool.
That's so
name
great.
one of your themed drinks.
They had a whole selection. I stuck with one. They made a butterbeer shot, and it was so good that's kind of all I had, but they had a whole slew of concoctions. Alison, I think you've been there before, so you probably have more of an idea of some of them.
Yeah, and what's neat about Ravens Manor is it's a restaurant, it's a bar, it's themed, but they also have like an interactive portion, which we didn't do that time. I've done in the past, and it's kind of like a mad scientist escape room. And if you buy a ticket ahead of time, you go down in the basement, and first they do like an escape room, which is really fun. You work as a team to solve the mystery. and then you actually put on an apron like you're a mad scientist, and they give you this recipe to make a drink. But it's like, let's put a bat's wing in here. It's got like this whole list of things, and everything's labeled. And then you make some smoky, weird drink that's glowing, and then you drink it. It's a really fun place. Yeah, definitely one of my closest friends, Jazz, works there. You get to meet. So yeah, if anybody is in Portland, definitely recommend.
That's
cool.
well, and also when you met Amy, show us what you're wearing on your neck.
Mm-hmm.
My Metal Babe Mayhem guitar pick necklace. Yay!
Yes, yes. That's so great, because that was something that we talked about in the first episode. I think was that you wanted one, and now it looks perfect on you. And then Katya, you're wearing a Metal Babe necklace also.
I am, and mine's a heart with, like, you see a black rose on it too. I absolutely love it. Well, speaking of Metal Babe Mayhem, what is up with your store now? Because now we're at 20 years, right? Like 2025 is it 20 years?
No, not quite yet. I established Metal Babe Mayhem in mid-September of 2006.
So okay. So we're not quite there yet.
Was 18 years. So we are getting close. For Valentine's this year, we are having a special. I might as well give a shout out there.
Oh, let's do it.
This is Metal Babe Mayhem. I'm wearing one of my shirts also here. This is a long sleeve crop sweater that's really cute. You can see I've got a shirt under it. And I've got tons of clothing, jewelry, accessories, over 500 products. And if you're looking for something for Valentine's Day, like what Katya has on is great. Lots of heart jewelry, black hearts, black roses, like little, edge to your hearts. You can go to metalbabemayhem.com, and I'm offering for the entire month of February 20% off. The promo code is HEARTMB. So just HEARTMB, save 20% at metalbabemayhem.com.
That's awesome. So what else does your business entail? Like, you don't just have your store. You have this whole like life that you lead that's Metal Babe Mayhem. What is that?
Well, anybody can be a metal babe. That's one of the things that I firmly believe. Obviously, we're all metal babes. It doesn't matter on your sex, your race, you're big, you're small, you're tall, you're whatever it is, anybody can be a metal babe, and that's something that I believe in. And then I am also a journalist, and I love to write, I love to interview bands, I love to do reviews, and then I just love to just to show my support. So anybody who's wearing Metal Babe and videos, I'll throw the videos up there. If there's pictures of customers wearing, so it's kind of like a one-stop rock shop.
Can't wait to get some more stuff. Well, tell me about some of the people that have worn your clothes. And you talked about the videos that you've posted. Who's up there? Who do you have?
Well, as we are doing this interview tonight, I'm actually in Los Angeles, and I'm going to see Armored Saint and Wasp, which I'm very excited about. And Jeff Duncan, who is the guitar player, he is one of my biggest #1 supporters. Jeff has worn Metal Babe shirts all over the world. And I've actually been fortunate to see Armored Saint play the Wacken Festival in Germany twice. And even more than I was there both times for them. So, it's always fingers crossed. Will he have my shirt on? This is the end of the big tour. They actually started in Portland. I'm pretty sure the first show was just about a month ago in Portland. They're great live. They're with Wasp, so it should be a really fun show. So he is definitely one of my #1 supporters, and then Tracy Guns is right up there. He has worn my shirts. He's a big supporter. Like I met him, as a young teenager growing up. Like we all met so many bands, and it was, I think, 2016. We were at the big hair fest that they did in 2016 here in LA, Irvine Meadows. And a mutual friend walked up to me as a photographer, and he says, I have somebody that wants to meet you. And he walks over with Tracy Guns.
Wow.
Tracy's like, I love you. I love everything you stand for, and I want to be a metal babe. I said, okay, I
Nice.
see. You're
That's
a Metal Babe.
perfect.
So yeah, it's so great. It's like we talk about this whole full circle thing, and I'm just so
Mhm.
grateful. The bands that I grew up listening to, are now, we're all in the same playing field. They're wearing my shirts. I've done interviews with a lot of them. And then there's like another band called like Blue October, which is totally like not in our realm, but
Mhm.
it's so funny. But I was in St. Louis, Missouri. I was working at a festival. This was probably about 6 years ago. This was in 2020, but 2019. So it was right before everything changed with the COVID. But I was working in this booth, and again, it was early, like how Tracy came over to us early, before the show, and that's when the musicians get to walk around. And this guy was walking around, and he goes to the Metal Babe section, and he's looking through. So of course, I put on my smile and I walk over, and one thing leads to the next, and he says he's in a band and they're playing. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I do some, I had a music promotion company I was working with at the time. And I said, oh, well, I do music promotion. Here's my card. If you need help with your band, I can help out, and I'll give you, 20% discount if you buy the
Mhm.
shirt for band discount. So he buys the shirt, and he was really nice and friendly and everything. So as soon as he leaves, I Google it, and it was like 8 million followers or something. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, really? Like, I'm literally like, oh, hi, I can help promote your band. Here's my card. It was kind of funny. And so I left, when he played, I left, and he had the shirt on stage, and now we've,
Oh, that's awesome.
connected. And I really like the band. It's kind of, just like an alternative rock, very
Mhm.
heartfelt, beautiful, rockin'. And I was, not, I wouldn't say embarrassed. I just thought it was kind of funny in the sense where I'm like, I could help you. And he went along with it. He took my card. We connected on Instagram. He hooked me up with the
That's
show
awesome.
at a time. So yeah,
I
his name
love
is
that.
Matt. But yeah, he's been super cool. So yeah, I definitely love and appreciate the support. So by the time everybody sees this, if you are in the Los Angeles area, there's a store called Meow Meows, and it's
Oh,
in
I saw
Pasadena.
that.
Yeah, so it's Meow Meows. There's a Z on the end of Meow Meows, and we have just agreed to create a section of Metal Babe merch in her store, which is great because she's about a half an
Yeah.
hour from me. We're going to set up her with tank tops, t-shirts. We're bringing some keychains, some acrylics. So she's going to have a nice section of Metal Babe Mayhem merch here at Meow Meows in Pasadena. So that's a big win for me because it's
Awesome.
close.
Yeah.
I can shop for the shirts. It's a great store. It's just a really neat store. I've always been supportive. They actually make buttons. Anybody watching, if they need custom buttons, they do 100 for $35. That's kind of how we reconnected. I got some buttons from her to take to Europe with me uh, in October. So we kind of reconnected, and one thing led to the next, and now we'll have a Metal Babe section up in her store.
Yay! Oh,
Yay.
well,
Oh,
I was
that's
going to
awesome.
ask you, how are you, what inspires you to keep going or to what inspires you?
Right now here we are,
Mhm.
the three of us girls, and you guys, both of you wearing my necklaces, just it makes me happy. And the more
Oh,
I see that, it's just it's very nice, and I appreciate it, and I want to reciprocate with everybody, and that's why I like to give back, throw in the note and the free gift.
Mhm.
And I know I feel like I'm rambling. I have another update. Can I go with it?
oh,
Yeah.
please do.
This is actually happening minutes before we got on this call today. So there is a guitar player, Ira Black.
Mhm.
Does that ring a bell?
Mhm.
So he's been in a lot of bands. I met Ira
Yeah.
Black when he was in Lizzie Borden, and
Okay.
I met him. I was around 2010, I'm
I was gonna
guessing.
say years ago. Years ago. Okay.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I don't know the resume off the top of my head, but Dio Disciples is another big part of him. He was in Bullet Boys for a little bit, but he's been in a lot of bands. But what Ira is doing right now, and by the time everybody sees this, we'll be going strong. But he just started a campaign called Guitars for Kids. And the whole idea is that he's going to be giving away free guitars to as many kids as he possibly can. And it's amazing. He's still working out the details on the website. Maybe we can post the link. But
Mhm. Mhm.
when you go on Facebook, there's always a million things coming, and you keep scrolling whatever. But I just saw this the other day, and it just warmed my heart. So basically, he's working with Dean Guitars, and he's asking for kids to go on his website. Their parents can, of course, help them, depending on their age. But all you have to do is tell him, why do you want a guitar? And it's just like almost writing a letter to Santa. I think he's going by Guitar Santa. So he wants people to write a letter to Guitar Santa, say why they want a guitar, and then he will choose who gets a guitar. So at this point, he's got a countdown. I don't know the frequency, but I just told him that I'm going to sponsor a guitar. So we're going to put out a Metal Babe Mayhem sponsored guitar that one of these kids is going to get from their letter to Guitar Santa.
That
That's
is so cool.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, because think about it. How many young kids want to play guitar and they can't afford it. Their parents can't afford it, and these are Gene guitars, one of the best guitars out there. So I mean, what a great way
Wow.
to get started in music, keep music alive. With
Keep
how
music
much.
going. Exactly.
That's excellent.
So I'm very excited about that. So Ira and I are going to be talking more. We're planning to do a brief interview shortly to help get the word out. So yes, we'll have to keep posted on how
That's
that works.
awesome.
I'll be sponsoring a guitar with Ira Black and Guitar for Kids.
That's awesome. That reminds me of something, and I know, Katya, we have the same question. I bet you're right there too. How's Metal Babe Minute going?
Yes, I was going to ask. You know.
That is. So I didn't want to go too far involved, but the reason I'm just decided to do the interview with Ira Black is for the Metal Babe Minute. So that's like so perfect. You're reading my mind. So it's so fun. I've been doing it now over a year. For anybody who's unfamiliar, it's basically a podcast that Troy Patrick Farrell, who is a drummer, he's been in a lot of bands, Gilby Clarke, White Lion, and Tantric was a big one that he toured with Molly Crew. But yeah, he's a pretty well-known drummer, and we've known each other for a long time. But we reconnected just over a year ago at a show in Vegas, and one thing led to the next. And now every Wednesday I have a Metal Babe Minute on his podcast called This, That, and the Other. And what I do is introduce the audience to a song they probably don't know, maybe even a band they don't know. Because if you can see behind me,
Yep.
Yes.
I have thousands of CDs. And all these CDs are even in order, alphabetical order by date. But I am just a music fan for life, like we all are. But one of the things that I really appreciate is the B-sides and the rare songs. I'm not a hits girl. Like, I could go to a concert and not hear a hit and be so happy. I love those obscure songs that really nobody knows. And that's kind of what got me in with Troy, is I've been playing songs, and I tell a story. So that was kind of how we connected at this show. It was actually Jesse Bradman got up on stage and I flipped out. It's so funny. It was Mr. Big and Trickster, and we're at this show. I was with my friend. We're just on vacation, and they after they played, they just hadn't had an open jam, and it was with Eric Martin. Eric Martin, the singer, Mr. Big, says, "Hey, I'm going to bring up someone to the stage, Jesse Bradman." And I flipped out. Like, I interrupted the whole show. I ran to the front of the stage, and I'm like, "Jesse, is this really Jesse Bradman?" And he's looking at me funny. Eric's like, "I don't know what's going on over there." And I'm like, "Are you Jesse Bradman from Saints and Sinners?" And he's just like, "Yeah." And he looks at me like I'm kind of crazy, and he's kind of shocked. And I said, "Let's talk after the show." So in my mind, I was the only one who knew this, but so Jesse Bradman was in the band Saints and Sinners. They put out one album. They actually had a song called Kiss the Bastard that John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, and I think Aldo Nova all helped write. And I'm, this encyclopedia of knowledge, when it comes to the music. And so I'm telling Troy about this. I'm telling Izzy Presley, and after the show, I talked to him. I talked to his wife. I got his number. And because of all of this, Troy plays Kiss the Bastards on his podcast the next day. And he got such great feedback and that he told me, he's like, "Wow." And I said, I could do that every week. And he took me up on it. So here we are a year later, and one thing's led to the next. So I do the Metal Babe Minute where I play a song and tell a story. I've also done road reports. When I go out to shows, I'll do a recap, and sometimes I'll interview bands. I just interviewed Troy, who's with Gilby Clarke. I interviewed him bass player EJ Kurz and Gilby Clarke and like 7 other bands when I was in the UK for Hard Rock this past November. So yes, it's going great, and I will be interviewing Ira Black about Guitar for Kids on an upcoming show. So it's great to have that outlet. And Troy is amazing. He's just he and I go way back. He's up there with Tracy Guns and Jeff Duncan as being my #1 supporter since the beginning. So Troy is definitely a metal babe.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Troy.
And it's a fun show. It's a fun. He's got a fun show.
It is. It is. It's a great show. It's a 3-hour show. It's every Wednesday from 2 to 5, and then they replay it every. I'm so sorry. Is that right?
I think so. And then they replay it Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. It's every Wednesday 2 to 5, and then every Saturday they replay 5 to 8 Pacific time. It's fun. I like being part of it.
It is. And I was gonna, if you could let us in on a few, name a few songs that Metal Babe Minute has talked about recently.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. So the song that I just played was a band called Sleazebees. They had a song called I Don't Want to Live Without You. And it's interesting because a lot of these bands I play, I know everything about them, every lyric, every word, their birthdays, whatever. Sleazebees is a band I don't know much about. I didn't know they were from Amsterdam until a week ago. The reason I played that song is because I heard it on the radio when it came out, and I loved it. And the only way to figure out what song it was is I had to call the radio station and sing it. So,
no Spotify. Okay.
That was the only way back then. So, yeah, that was a good one. I'll just start a couple of names. Of
Please do. Yeah.
Bands that I love, that everything, from start to finish, that kind of got me on this. Like the first ones I threw out there would be South Gang, Hardline, Lillian Axe. Yeah, I've dabbled. I wish I could show you guys my CD. My CD collection here.
I used to have Hardline. Okay, so before I had kids, I used to have Hardline, and I'd have to go back and look at song titles. And then as soon as I looked at song titles, I'm sure I would belt out lyrics. But I had a 93 Geostorm, and the color of it was probably the color of my lips. It's like majestic magenta, and it had this crappy stereo system. So we put an aftermarket system in it with a huge, an amp in the back, and this thing was so loud, and I would just blast Hardline out of my car, along with Babylon AD and just
Asphalt Ballet. Do you remember that one?
Wait, what?
I said Asphalt Ballet.
Yes, and then I would do XYZ. Oh my gosh, I would just do all of the Vane. Of course, would come out of that car. Just the Bay Area club kind of bands at the time that were bigger clubs, but that we could still see in so fun.
I love that. Yeah, that first, because we're all it's pretty close in age. I remember that first Hardline cassette when that came out, Double Eclipse, I believe it was 92. I was babysitting when that came out, and I had my Walkman, with the cassette. And I remember I was babysitting, and the kids went to bed, and it just came out, and I said, I'm going to learn every word to this cassette tonight. And I did. I sat there, this is enough of any phone playlists. That's what we did back then. So I made that my goal that night, and I still know every word. But interesting thing about them, I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, that Johnny Giueli, he's not stopped for a minute. He has been going this whole time since that day, not with Hardline, but with Axel Rudy Pell. And he is singing with this band. They've put out, double digits on the CDs. And when I was in Europe this past summer, I went to Europe twice this year. I'm crazy. But when I was there this summer at Wacken, not only did I see him backstage, this is actually really good story here, is I was in the VIP catering section, and I was with my husband, with another band, a couple of friends, and I, just happened to look, across the room, and I saw Wendy Dio. So, and then Wendy Dio is standing there talking to Johnny Giueli. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I had just seen Wendy Dio recently. So I was really, fresh in her mind because we were at the Rock for Ronnie that they had here in May.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty fresh in her mind, only been a couple of months. So I go running over there. I was like, oh my gosh, Wendy. And she was sitting, she stands up and she hugs me. Here we are in the middle, Germany outside
Yeah, yeah.
this festival. Last thing she's expecting to see is some, person she saw in LA 2 months prior. So she was there with Dio Disciples. She got on
Yeah.
stage with them, and Ira Black. She got on stage, and it was really, really nice. So I saw her, and then it was funny because she's with Johnny, and a friend goes to hand my phone to Johnny, say, take a picture of us. I said, no, I want Johnny in my photo. So yeah, it was really great. I ran into him, but then Axel Rudy Pell played, and they were phenomenal. Like I don't know any of their songs at all. Like I have a few of their CDs, but I've never kept up on them like Hardline. But Johnny is the same Johnny we know from 1992.
Wow.
His voice is in great shape. Physically, he's kept
Wow.
himself in amazing shape, and he's on stage and he's running like this. Like that's what he does. Like,
Wow.
the entire time. And they did Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. It
Mm-hmm.
was like it brought a tear to my eye. It was that beautiful.
Wow.
And of course the bad part about Wacken is there's 9 stages, there's 200 bands, so there's
Mm-hmm.
always something happening at the same time. So as they were playing the Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, I have a tear in my eye as I raced across the field to get to Mr. Big.
Okay.
You're like,
So I
so
did
sorry.
I made it to Mr. Big for To Be With You. I watched a few of Mr. Big songs, and I was like, you know what? Johnny's got my heart right now. I'm going
So
back.
you,
So I went back for more of Axel Rudy Pell. Yeah, I mean, we walked probably a good 15, 20 miles a day at that festival. I mean, it's that
It's
big.
crazy.
But I was just so great to see him because it had been many, many years. I mean, probably since the 90s that I had seen Johnny Jewel in any way whatsoever. So it
That's
was just
awesome.
really great to see him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like your question, Katya. I feel like if I had my phone, I could read you a list. But the whole concept mostly is what I like to do is play a band like Motley Crue or Skid Row or Poison, somebody everybody knows, but then play a song nobody knows.
that's
And
fantastic.
that's
That's
one thing. And then the other thing is to come up with these bands that your average person doesn't know. Like a War Babies. That's another good one I talked about. And a lot of these bands, unfortunately came out in that 89, 92 era that I love. But then grunge came and killed them
Yep.
all.
Yep. Yep.
A lot of them was really bad timing. I think if
Mm-hmm.
they would have came out, earlier or later, it might have been different on a lot of these bands.
Yep.
But that's kind of my focus. But then every now and then with, I throw in something a little crazy. Like I've thrown in Mr. Misery. I like to throw in a little bit of my other passion. So Troy's very
that's
excited
no, that's
what I want to
Yeah.
play.
that's how, yeah, that's how I learned from music is hearing it from other people. So yeah, different genres,
Mm-hmm.
different types.
Mm-hmm.
I love hearing it too. But I'm going to go back real quick to Wacken. What other highlights from the festival for last year?
Mr. Misery note, Mr. Misery did play. It was their album release party. They had just put out their
Oh, fun.
third album, and they played on that Saturday night. And for me, I had at the Wacken Festival, we had VIP and press, which we've now gone 3 times. And that's really, really great because, you have somewhere to sit down. You have somewhere to plug your phone. It's not even about schmoozing with rock stars. It's about I can actually sit down and charge my phone for free, like the simple things in life are back
Yes.
there. But in addition to that, which I'm accustomed to, I had a photo pass this year, which is just something I don't own a camera. Like I'm not a photographer, I can play one, whatever, but that's one of the things I'm just really not. I don't own a camera. It's a whole other story. But anyways, they gave us photo passes. So I was like, why not? So and the way that it worked was, there, like I said, there was about 100,000 people at this festival, 200 bands, and 9 cities. It's the size of, I think, 94 football fields.
Yeah.
I did the math
Huge.
when I was writing, so it's huge. So I decided, I had this photo pass. So the way it worked is if I wanted to go in the photo pass for like any of the bands that weren't like the headliners, I could just go in anytime. I had a bracelet I would show. But if you wanted to go to the headliners like Gene Simmons or the biggest headliners, you had to sign up, and only 20 people were allowed per band. So I did go in for Armored Saint, actually, too. Speaking of Armored Saint, who I'm seeing tonight, but I didn't have a phone, so I just went in with my camera. I'm like, what are they going to do? Everybody else is in there. They have their big old cameras. They've got like step stools. They've got lenses. And I just went in. So the first photo pit I've ever been in my entire life was at Gene Simmons. So
Wow.
here's, I don't know how many people are watching him play, 30,000 people, whatever. And I'm in front of all of them in the photo pit with my little camera.
Was it a phone or a camera?
No, it was my phone. Yeah, my phone.
Okay.
Because I know Brian Tishy, and he was on stage. I didn't know he was in the band until I was there. And then Ryan Roxy, he was there too. So there's like
yeah.
two, people I know from LA were right there. But I also did that, for Mr. Misery, which to me was like the hardest thing for me of being in the photo pit is standing still. Like, to me, it's torture. Like, I want to jump up and down.
You're bouncing.
You're bouncing.
And in the photo pit, you have to be still to take photos. So I think that's probably why I've never been interested in taking photos at a concert like that, because I don't want to be still. I want to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But at Mr. Misery, I did go in the photo pit for the first 3 songs. And then I went after that, I was watching the show from as close as possible. And they announced it was their last song. And I was already, I was on the biggest musical high I could ever be on. And I thought to myself, what can I do to make this even better? I can crowd surf. When you're to crowd surf, it's not stage diving. It's, the crowd surf is you have to be from the back, and then you go to the front. So in the international signal to crowd surf is you walk up to somebody with your hands like this, and then they go like that, and then you put your foot in there and they lift you up. So I said, what can I do to make this a high? This is the last band, the last night of the show. I'm like, I'm going to crowd surf. And in one of my like life strategies is I don't like to be first because, in case you die or whatever, I like to be second. Always, whether it's jumping off a cliff or, whatever it is, I like to be second.
Good life lesson. Yeah.
Doing it. And I was like, okay, this is one of the smaller stages. If I had to guess, there was maybe about 700 people watching this band. And no, I saw one person crowd surf, and it had been quite a few songs. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I walked to the back of the crowd. I did my signal. Somebody picked me up. I'm on my back. They're playing the song. I'm doing this in the air. I'm on my back. I got all the way to the front. And then the way they do it there is they place you over the front gate, and then security helps you get to the other side. And then then you run off, and I'm like, yeah, I did it. And so I did it. And it was probably like one of the best moments of my life. Like,
that's phenomenal.
I was like breathtaking. I was breathless. I was speechless. My husband was sitting down at a bench waiting for me when it was over. And I was like, I just need to sit. Like, like I was done. I'm like, okay, I did it. And then to even top that off, though, I did see Mr. Misery after the night. We're going back, winding down for the night. And I saw them, and they were like done. They were all ordering food. They probably hadn't eaten all day. They were just done. But Alistair, who's the bass player, he says to me, I saw you crowd surf.
Okay, next year I'll join you there. If you go. Yeah.
I want to go. We should talk. Okay, so here's another good segue is Sabotage. Are you guys familiar or fans? Yeah. Okay, so Sabotage is touring next year in Europe. They're headlining clubs, and they're playing festivals. And they're not at Vakken this year, but so far they're at Hellfest, which is in France, and they're at Grass Pop, which is in Belgium. So the bottom line is I'm going to 2 Sabotage shows no matter what. So Katya, if you can coordinate that, and you'll crowd surf with me?
Yes.
Really?
Video. Video.
It's a date.
One of us will be filming. Okay. You first, then me. I'll take your life lesson from that.
She'll take the second.
That's fair. That's fair,
Oh,
and that's the other people doing it. And I've crowd surfed now. I think I'm at about 9 times total. The first time was only a year ago, so I
so
love it.
9 times since then.
I don't. One time was in the United States. Only I did it on a dare in the United States. Since then, my same friend Jazz in Portland dared me to do it. Lizzie Borden had opened, and I really should have done it when they played because I liked them way more. I can't even remember who they opened for, but she dared me. And then, of course, the thing is, if you ever, I think we talked last episode about knowing the tricks, to get to the front and kind of stuff. One of the tricks I've recently learned is if you want to get to the front of the stage and you don't have a pit pass or a ticket, crowd surf because you end up. So yeah, so I left my friend. I went and I crowd surfed on a dare. It was at a theater, and I made it over the barrier, and I made it to the front row, like right in the front
That's
of the stage.
perfect.
And I was like, "Well, this sucks though," because I didn't know that band. I wanted to be in front,
Oh, yeah.
so I just
So
watched
do
her.
it again. Yeah. So then you just have
Actually,
to do it again.
she should have dared me during Lizzie Borden because I would have got to the front, and I would have been much happier.
Oh,
I
that's
love
funny.
it.
Okay.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Yes,
Well,
Well,
yes,
guys.
I'm very, very, very excited about Sabotage. So Sabotage is my number one favorite band in the world. If I had to pick one, and
Wow. Okay.
the last time I saw them play was 2015 when they played
uh,
at Wacken. And that's why I went to Wacken was they played with Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
I love Trans-Siberian.
And
Yeah.
yes, but they
Mm-hmm.
played at the same time.
Oh.
Okay.
So they had there's 3 main stages at Wacken,
Mm-hmm.
like, and so they played at 2 of them simultaneously. And so Trans-Siberian Orchestra with the whole orchestra was on one stage. There's video. I actually have the pro shop video of this. And I was in the front row because it was so muddy. I was standing on a gate in the very front to stay out of the mud. And then Sabotage was on the other side. And yeah, it was worth it. I'd do it again in a second. So I will next year.
Wow. Wow.
Well,
I'd
Allison,
love to see TSO.
I am looking at the time, and again, I think
Mm.
we need to schedule yet another time so we could get more stories because we
Well,
didn't
we
even get to what's
obviously
been
know.
happening the last few months.
I know. And the funny thing is, well, we obviously know that you're gonna have to come back and share some crowd surfing stories of the two of you together. So, you know.
Have you ever done it, Katja?
No, that's it's so I always watch it and I was like, I've done shoulders, I've done
Mm,
pushed my way to the front, but I've never done crowd
mm.
surfing.
Here's the thing too, is I never did it in the United States because I was afraid if I did it in the United States, I would get groped. I would get robbed.
Yes, that's
And
exactly
I
right. That's
was
exactly right.
in Europe, I don't feel like that. I feel like they're a community, and the only thing these people care about is making sure you're safe and you don't fall. They're not trying to catch a feel. They're not trying to steal your wallet. They just want you safe, and that's it. I mean, I've done this so many times at the shows when I'm in the front. You have to keep an eye out constantly, and you're pushing people
Yeah.
over you.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. Amy, you too. Come on.
Oh, mercy. I'll go third. and then the only reason it would happen is because, oh crap, now they're in the front and I gotta go find them.
Yeah, that's the bonus is you end up in the front.
Yeah, that would
Yes,
be funny.
it's been really fun. I'm really glad to have been on the show. I can't wait to meet you in
Aw.
person,
I
Katya.
love
I'm
it.
happy I met you,
I love it.
Amy.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was so fun. I was really happy we got to make that happen. I'm sorry I missed the show, but if for anybody who doesn't, well, I don't know, putting it out there, Portland is about 3 hours away, so it was a drive, and the show we were gonna try to plan on going to the show, but it was on a Wednesday, right? And it was tricky to make that happen at that particular moment, but Friday worked, and we had a good time.
It did, and I'm throwing this out there is I'll probably come back for Wednesday 13. I don't know the date, but it's in
Okay.
March. So maybe we can make, and it's the same place. So maybe we can make that one happen.
Okay, okay. I tentatively have another date in March for that same location, so we'll see how that works out. From another with another guest that we have yet to air her episode. I'll plug it, but Dana is she's doing a Skid Row episode in the next couple of weeks, and she happens to be a really big fan of Trickster, and Trickster's going to be in Portland in March also.
Oh, let me know what day.
I will. They just put the thing out. Steve Brown just published the tour
I
dates
just saw
on his
that.
Instagram page.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, Portland! And she was like, hey, she reached out to me. She's like, I'll go to Portland with you. She'll fly in from Florida. So
That's awesome.
And Steve Brown wears Metal Babe Mayhem. And
right?
I'm trying to think PJ. Yeah, they're so fun. I love them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, good. Well, one or the other, because my friend's there, so I got a free roof over my head. So
that's so awesome.
Good one.
Yeah, let me know the date. Okay, if we can swing it, we'll do it.
Can we give one last plug to my
Valentine's
sale?
Go.
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Amy and Katya, for having me. And if you're looking for anything for the rocker in your life or for yourself, go to metalbabemayhem.com and use the promo code HEARTMB and you can save 20%.
Yay!
And I will be grabbing some stuff for the concerts for this year, so I'm ready.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
You guys are going to have a blast.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Allison. Thank you for coming back.
Bye. Oh, thank you, Allison. That was great. I love her stories. I love hearing about her Metal Babe lifestyle. And with that, I encourage everyone to order from her store. And remember, the discount is Hearts MB. And soon you'll see my new stuff from her store that I ordered because I'm excited to get some.
Nice. That's exciting. As always, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or one of the other streaming services, go ahead and I think it's still a subscribe, but go ahead and do what you need to do to make sure that you get notifications when new podcasts come out. We are on Instagram and Threads at RockTheLife Girl. If you have a story to tell, please let us know. You can send us an email at amy.rockthelife@outlook.com. You can also send me a DM. I'm getting quite a few of those, so that's exciting.
How about some crowd surfing stories?
Oh my gosh, yes, thank you. If you have any like this was a whole thing and Katya's never done it, so I've never, I don't even know. But if you have some crowd surfing and front row stories, let us know that. Yeah, definitely. I want to see that. All right. I'm going to need pictures from you, young lady.
Okay,
right.
Aim.
Yep.
Don't forget.
Do it for this week. Yeah. Don't forget.
Okay.
Rock the life.
Rock the life.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.